Back in the 1850s, there was a man named Charles Blondin. Don't know if you've heard of Charles Blondin. He fascinated crowds literally all over the world with his feats on the high wire. He was a tightrope walker, and he did events all over the world. Well, in 1859, Charles Blondin brought his act to the United States and attempted some of his greatest feats to date when he strung a tightrope across Niagara Falls. One end in Canada, the other end in America, and for several days he would do various stunts across that tightrope across Niagara Falls. One time across, he went over in a sack. Can't even imagine that. Went over in a sack. Another time, he went over on stilts. On July the 15th, 1859, Charles Blondin pushed a wheelbarrow, the story goes, pushed a wheelbarrow across that tightrope while blindfolded. And as you might imagine, as they always did, when he got to the other end of that tightrope, the crowd went wild. They were so enthusiastic, cheering on Charles Blondin for such an amazing feat. Well, as the crowd was so enthusiastic after pushing the wheelbarrow blindfolded across the tightrope, Charles Blondin asked the crowd, "How many of you believe that I could push this wheelbarrow across there with a person on the inside?" And the crowd went wild. "Yes, you can do that." They were so enthusiastic. And then he said, "Okay, who would like to get in?" And the crowd went silent. See, it's one thing to believe something in theory. It's another thing to allow that belief to inform your practice. It's another thing to take that theoretical belief and make it practical to us. It's one thing to believe things about God in theory, but it is an entirely different thing to get into his wheelbarrow